feeling nothing but love, nothing, just feeling love, just feeling a lot of love, nothing but love. Donald Trump's campaign manager and senior counselor inside the White House, professional liar Kellyanne Conway, announced today that she and her husband, George Conway, are ending their marriage. Kellyanne said she could no longer put up with her husband's facts. She accused him of being a compulsive truth teller. Marriage, she said, is built on dishonesty. And when a husband tells one verifiable truth, it snowballs into a series of verifiable truths, and then you begin to wonder if everything coming out of his mouth is one big accuracy. Kellyanne says she thought she loved George, but is now wondering if their entire relationship was built on not a lie. Kellyanne says the divorce was a difficult decision because she hates the idea of families getting separated, unless, of course, they're dark-skinned Guatemalan refugees at the border. Kellyanne's husband, George Conway, is a Washington attorney who, if you remember, cried tears of joy on election night 2016 after Donald Trump was elected president. He cried tears of joy because George knew that meant he would be seeing less and less of his horror show of a wife. I've always seen Marianne and George as a modern-day Jim Carville and Mary Madeline, if instead of Mary Madeline, Jim Carville married a rabid hyena. Kellyanne and her husband desperately try to keep the marriage together for the sake of how it would look, and also for their children, but mostly for the sake of how it would work, or look. George Conway, a right-wing corporate attorney, was a huge Trump supporter, but turned on him when it became apparent Trump wasn't going to appoint him Solicitor General of the United States. It was after George never found work in the White House that he decided Trump was bad for the country. Conway gained notoriety by being the first to publicly diagnose Trump with a narcissistic personality disorder. Conway recognized all the traits of a narcissistic personality disorder after noticing Trump sounded exactly like the woman lying next to him in bed. Emphasis on the word lying next to him in bed. Up until recently, Kellyanne and her husband were considered the exemplar of a conservative power couple with strong Christian values, balancing both work and family in Washington, D.C. With their divorce, that couple is now Matt and Mercedes Schlapp. That would be Mercedes and Matt Schlapp this week at CPAC. On the right is Mercedes standing by her by. And here is Donald Trump speaking tonight at CPAC, and he is just taunting Matt Schlapp. Watch how he just goes out of his way to tease Matt Schlapp. Listen to this.
The racist Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, who is presiding over one of the most dangerous and violent cities in the United States.
Did you hear what he just said? Listen to this. What did you say?
Straits.
Okay, so we all know about Matt Schlapp's problem, and Donald Trump is taunting him by saying
the racist Manhattan District Straits.
Right. How to do that. Matt Schlapp, the man who invited Donald Trump to speak at CPAC, is being sued by a male campaign staffer for Herschel Walker. The male staffer, is claiming credibly that Matt Schlapp pounded on his junk. And Donald Trump has to tease Matt Schlapp by saying,
Straits.
Wow, you are so cruel, Donald Trump. So you're basically saying Republicans only want votes from the
racist Manhattan District.
That's not working.
Straits.
All right. That didn't work. Anyway, Donald Trump is very cruel. And then Donald Trump, the candidate, made a pitch for why only he can bring back the golden days of America when he was president.
And I will save your jobs. We had the greatest job history of any president ever.
Wow. Is that true? Donald Trump had the greatest job history of any president ever? I'm going to vote for it. Let's check that out. This is from ABC News, their website. Let's go full screen here. This is from ABC News. It says here that on his way out, Donald Trump became the first president since Herbert Hoover during the Great Depression to leave office with fewer jobs than when he entered office. About 2.5 million fewer jobs when he left office. I guess he misspoke, and I'm sure he's going to correct himself because he would never lie to people at CPAC. Well, then Mr. Trump promised to get tough on immigration. Here he is.
Under my leadership, we will use all necessary state, local, federal, and military resources to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history.
Like he did the last time.
Other countries are emptying out their prisons, insane asylums, and mental institutions, and sending all of their problems right into their dumping ground, the USA. Think of it. They're emptying out their prisons, and you've heard me say that, but they're also emptying out their mental institutions. And to use a strong couple of words, insane asylum. Insane asylum.
Wow. Insane asylum. They're turning this country into an insane asylum. It's going to start looking like CPAC. I don't know, Mr. Trump. If the rest of the world is sending us their crazies, for the sake of your party, I'd get these people registered to vote as soon as possible. And then Donald Trump continued with his type of misogyny that has characterized the man's political career since the beginning. Here he is, and I just do not approve of this. And I'm playing this as an example of how low they're willing to go. And you know what Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we go high. And here he is, once again, attacking the way a woman looks, which you should never, ever, ever do.
To bring charges against me for now ancient, no affair story of Stormy Horseface Daniels, no attraction.
And did you hear the way they laughed at when he called her
Stormy Horseface Daniels?
Well, you know what? Our side does not do that. When they go low, we go high. I would never, ever sink to that level. Our side doesn't do that. Anyway, back to Kellyanne Conway and her husband splitting up. It's going to be nasty. Kellyanne hates George more than anyone in the world, with the possible exception of herself. I'm told this divorce could end up being the ugliest divorce in Washington history unless lawyers on both sides can convince the couple to show up to court with bags over their heads.
Stormy Horseface Daniels.
Now, people say the marriage was torn apart because George couldn't stand the fact that his wife worked for Trump. Trust me on this. George Conway is no saint. He was Paula Jones's attorney. He was part of the ultra-right-wing legal establishment that impeached Bill Clinton. And before Kellyanne, this guy dated Laura Ingraham. Laura Ingraham from Fox News. He went from Laura Ingraham to Kellyanne Conway. He's got about as much taste in significant others as Kurt Cobain. He came way too late. I'm sorry. He came way too late to the I hate Donald Trump party. Way too late. Even worse, he co-founded the Lincoln Project, which essentially spends money mocking Trump while worming its way into the Democratic Party to make us, my party, more right-wing. Stay out of our party, okay? George Conway isn't on your side. He's on the supply side. The only thing I have in common with George Conway is we both have an equal distaste for Trump and Kellyanne. It took 2 years into Trump's presidency for the Lincoln Project to get founded. Yeah. Conway earns anywhere between $3 and $6 million a year as a corporate attorney in Washington, D.C. He waited until Trump gave the rich their massive tax cuts in 2017. And then, all of a sudden, it's time to say, I am utterly disgusted by this man's behavior. Well, it's not like their marriage didn't have any highlights. Here's a picture of the power couple at Donald's inauguration. George is seen here obediently holding Kellyanne's stole, made entirely from Sarah Huckabee's pubic hair. And here is the couple back in 2017. And this was right after Trump was inaugurated. Out of an abundance of caution, George isn't wearing a tie or shoelaces for fear that he'll remember who he's married to and try to hang himself. Kellyanne has a large smile on her face in this picture because it was taken immediately after she just spotted a homeless woman breastfeeding a kitten. As you can see, Kellyanne is wearing a vest and a skirt consisting of handcrafted leather made using a tanning process that gives it the same texture and feel as her face.
Stormy Horseface Daniels.
Well, Kellyanne Conway is still very much involved in Donald Trump's attempt to reclaim the White House. At Republican fundraisers, Donald and Kellyanne can still wow the crowd. They can still wow the crowd whenever Donald points to parts of her body right before he grabs them without permission. By the way, Donald says Kellyanne is like a daughter to him because he wouldn't mind sleeping with her either. Donald Trump, interesting thing about Donald Trump is he can tell whether a woman had just been fantasizing about Rush Limbaugh's ghost or Roger Ailes' ghost simply by the smell of her fingers. And this is from 2019. This is one of my favorite pictures of Kellyanne. Whenever there were more than 3 black people visiting the Oval Office, Kellyanne would immediately take to Instagram and post a selfie of herself tinkling on the couch. That would be Kellyanne tinkling on the couch. Donald Trump, before delivering a big speech, will often draw inspiration by taking a deep hit off of one of Kellyanne's infamous triple quad Baconator belches from Wendy's. And Kellyanne considers her crowning achievement in the White House to be interrupting the COVID press conferences 15 times to steal another Hermes scarf right off Dr. Deborah Birx's neck in mid-sentence. And Kellyanne Conway and President Trump both share a passion for stealing the laptop belonging to Mike Pence's wife, Karen Pence, and checking out her secret stash of lipstick Sister of Sappho porn. That's them just checking out Karen Pence's secret stash of lipstick Sister of Sappho porn. A little too much information about Karen Pence than I choose to know. This is This is not what I wanted to show you. This is what I wanted to show you. This is a great picture. This is Kellyanne Conway using her right hand to politely stifle a yawn. A lot of people don't realize that's where Kellyanne's mouth is. It's down there, and she's politely stifling a yawn. Most people have a mouth up there, but her mouth is down there. Interesting, isn't it? I find it to be interesting. Whenever she misses her old job working inside the Oval Office, Kellyanne Conway often stands outside the White House in a green dress, insisting to anyone who will listen that her dress is dark blue. That's green, right? I'm colorblind. Anyway, she likes to stand in front of the White House when she misses her old job and insists that the dress she's wearing is dark blue. Obviously, there has always been massive sexual tension between Attorney General Bill Barr and Kellyanne Conway because, as they say, opposite eating disorders attract. That is absolutely true, what they say. Opposite eating disorders attract.
Stormy Horseface Daniels.
Okay, and how many of you think it smells like Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross just did number 1 in his pants? So I think we all agree it smells like he did number 2. Moving on. Well, in all seriousness, George and Kellyanne Conway were married for more than 2 decades, and it saddens me to think that any of those years might have been happy ones. There is evil in this world, people who crave power and don't use it to help the least among us are pure evil. Forget her lies, forget her leaks. Kellyanne Conway and her husband used none of their power, money, or influence to bring about Medicare for all, free tuition at all public universities, or an end to homelessness. They both came to Washington accepting the world as it is, and instead of changing it, they cashed in. They were born irredeemable, and they will spend the rest of their pitiful lives that way. I'm David Feldman, reminding you to stay strong and protect the weak.
Stormy Horseface Daniels.
I couldn't have said it any better. Just remember, when they go low, we go even lower. Go even lower than they go.